Nuzlocks. At this point, if you're a Pokemon fan, you probably know what a Nuzlocke is. A challenge where you can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in each area of the game, you have to nickname every Pokemon you catch to forge greater bonds with your team, and if a Pokemon gets knocked out in battle, it dies. Whether you add on additional rules to make your challenge easier, more difficult, or just flat out painful, these rules have always been at the core of the Nuzlocke challenge. But with Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon has entered a new era, an open world era, one without the random encounters that made Nuzlocke difficult. Now, you can cherry pick your team without having to search through the grass for that Pokemon with a 5% spawn rate. The first Pokemon you encounter could be a Pokemon you find an hour into your journey through an area. So, what could I do to make a Nuzlocke challenge more difficult? Easy. Just restrict the ability to catch Pokemon based on progress instead of by area. With Scarlet and Violet, I propose a new rule system for Nuzlocks. The game incentivizes you to catch a Lechonk as part of the game's capture tutorial, so in addition to him, you can catch up to 4 Pokemon before obtaining your first gym badge. In addition, every badge you earn allows you to catch 2 more Pokemon. With 1 badge for every type in the game, this would equate to 41 total captures, which when you factor in caves, towns, and forests in past games, seems about average. And so, with Crocs the Fuecoco and Porky the Lechonk, I set out to complete the first Nuzlocke challenge in this new era of Pokemon. Now, after enrolling in the school that I plan to ditch to complete this challenge, I met my neighbor, Nemona, who has quickly developed an unhealthy obsession for battling the boy she just met. Almost immediately after this, we encountered a real-life Yu-Gi-Oh monster who was getting bullied by some tiny dogs. I fed him a sandwich, which gave him the energy to transform so I can finally play some card games on motorcycles. After that, I caught Punch the Palmy. I headed over to my new school when Nemona showed up to battle me again, this time unleashing the power of terastallization, which grants her own Palmy the ability to wear this light bulb hat, and also increasing the power of its attacks. After reaching the town of Mesa Goza, it seems like I can't even walk 10 feet without getting into a fight. So, after a little girl asked me to protect her from some bullies belonging to Team Star, I took him down pretty easily. Nemona saw this and got unsettlingly jealous that I had a Pokemon battle with another girl, slightly reminiscent of another game, but brushed it off and gave me a Terra Orb so I can terastallize my own Pokemon as well. When I reached the academy, I met Arvin, an upperclassman who wants to be the best chef in the world by finding the legendary Herba Mystica. And after that, I headed off to my first class. When I realized this game was just turning into Persona 5, I ditched and decided to head off to the first gym, but not before my phone was hacked by a girl who wanted me to take down Team Star once and for all. So, I left Mesa Goza and filled out my team to also include Stilts the Flamigo, Purebred the Fido, and Scooby Don't the Mastiff. Once my team was complete, I began training to take on the Cortando Gym, but little did I know that this is where I would encounter one of the strongest trainers in all of Paldea, Angel the Courier. While he didn't take the lives of any of my Pokemon, his Psyduck definitely instilled the fear of God in me, and reminded me that any of my Pokemon could die at any time. But once I terastallized Stilts, Psyduck finally ended its reign of terror, and the rest of his team was no match for us either, but his Mudbray did survive for a bit by trying to stall us out. After escaping Angel's wrath, I made it to Cortando, where the gym leader Katie specialized in Bug-type Pokemon, making this an easy win with Crocs by my side. Over on my way to the next gym in Artisan, I managed to add 2 new members to the team in Runt the Skiddo and Cece the Gulpin, before getting a phone call from Arvin reminding me that he wants to collect the herbs guarded by giant Titan Pokemon. Fortunately for him, I happened upon the Stony Cliff Titan, whose Anger Shell ability once again reminded me and my team of our mortality. But after yet another victory where nothing bad happened, I made it to the Artisan Gym, home of the Grass-type gym leader Brashus, who was no match for a team that was handpicked to defeat his own. I began to head north, towards the gym in Levincia, and decided that since I could catch some more Pokemon, I'd add a ground type to my team, specifically the Toadstool Pokemon Toadschool. After over an hour of looking, I finally managed to add Shroomble to the team, and headed into the city. Nemona showed up and asked to battle again, where her terastallized Floragato was unable to do anything against Crocs. But now that I've so handily won a match in her hometown, the city's gym leader and quote-unquote popular streamer Iono learned that her next challenger was in fact the most popular streamer on the planet. Or at least I could be if you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you can see when my videos come out and my streams are live. But whether she was threatened by my popularity or wanted to grow her own presence on YouTube, Ayano asked if I could collab before I took on her gym. So I reluctantly agreed to play a game of hide and seek that lasted about 30 seconds, and she did not seem happy that I finished that quickly. Her electric-type Pokemon managed to whittle down Shroombull's HP, and while they couldn't land the finishing blow, I didn't want to put her at risk. So, once Ayano sent out her final Pokemon, Mismagius, I figured that Scooby-Don't would be able to cripple it. With its Snarl attack, I attempted to whittle down Mismagius' HP and special attack, but after a long struggle, Scooby got confused and made a mistake when charging his attack. The first loss of the run hurt. While I was reluctant to catch Scooby-Don't at first, he became a beloved member of the team, and it really felt like his time came too early. Regretting I had ever collabed with such a cruel and callous person, I sent in Crocs to enact our revenge, and Ayano's Mismagius was no more. And after seeing Scooby give his life for the team, Cece and Purebred were both motivated to evolve. After getting the electric badge, I headed out before Arvin called me again, and since I was in the area, I decided I'd help him out one last time. So I headed to the construction site just outside of Levincia, where I caught 2 more Pokemon, Omega Mence the Bagon and Shelly the Varoom, and Punch and Shroombull both evolved. My all-star lineup just continued to look better than ever, so surely we'd be able to easily defeat the lurking Steel Titan. After the giant Orthworm was down for the count, Arvin revealed that he barely survived his own Nuzlocke challenge, and that his partner Pokemon Mabostiff was hanging on by a thread. Thinking about my own Mastiff, I decided I would help Arvin on his quest to find the remaining Titans and save his team. But then, as I headed west, I tried to catch my own Orthworm, before Punch learned that it can learn Bulldoze. I was careless, and I put one of my earliest team members in harm's way. 2 deaths in such a short time can take a serious toll, but I decided I would carry on in their memory, and perhaps Arvin would share the Herba Mystica with me once we took care of all the Titans. After losing my electric type, I went looking for another, adding Zap the Watchroll to the team, as well as Jetstream the Finizen before continuing on, and it was here that I got a call from Cassiopeia saying that the time was nigh to defeat Team Star. When I reached Team Star's base, I was met with a man who is clearly the principal of the academy in disguise, surely not happy that I was skipping class to take on this challenge. I entered Team Star's base with Crocs, Purebred, and Jetstream, and had to knock out as many of their fire types as possible. Once their entire lineup was out of commission, the boss of this base, Mela, decided she'd try and take me down herself before getting walled out by Purebred's full-baked body, making it completely immune to fire attacks. Once Mela was dethroned, the girl I helped earlier, Penny, revealed that she's also helping to take down Team Star, and that while she's a good hacker, she is definitely not the same person as Cassiopeia, who easily hacked my phone. With Team Star's fire squad taken down, I ventured west, where Purebred whacked the Open Sky Titan, and Stilts took out Giacomo, the head of Team Star's Dark Squad. After learning I unseated Giacomo, Penny revealed that Team Star's bosses were a bunch of nerds who were bullied before teaming up and bullying the bullies back. So they're good people at heart, or so she says, prompting me to wonder where her loyalties truly lied. When I made it to Cascaratha to take on the 4th gym leader, I was informed that the leader, Kofu, had rushed to the market in the next town over and forgot his wallet. So the gym's secretary told me that if I could return his wallet to him, I'd be able to challenge the gym. With his Venonat wallet back in his pocket, Kofu was happy to accept my challenge, with Omega Mence, Shroombull, and Zap swiftly eliminating his water-type team without breaking a sweat. Finally, my team and I were getting into a pretty good rhythm. It seemed that from this point, we'd be completely unstoppable. And on my way to the next town, I caught Chomp the Giraffarig, Broadside the Tauros, and Shadow the Haunter. And finally, Crocs evolved into Skeledirge. It seemed like I had every advantage going into this normal-type gym. But as I took on this gym challenge, Broadside was caught off guard by an opposing Greedent's counterattack and became the 3rd fatality of the run. With a team of fighting, ghosts, and steel types by my side, I thought my strategy for this gym was infallible. But one moment of bad luck can deal a swift blow and end the life of another team member at any second. Energized by the loss of yet another team member, I barged into the Treasure Eatery and demanded that the gym leader Larry take me on right here, right now. With Shadow and Crocs, I was able to completely wall out his team and earn myself yet another badge. Nimona had caught sight of that last gym battle and wanted to test my strength herself, but for a champion-ranked trainer, I have yet to see any challenge in my battles against her. After defeating these two trainers, I reorganized my team as I prepared for the home stretch, leveling up everybody, with Shelly finally evolving into Revavroom. As I headed just north to help Arven defeat the false Dragon Titan, where Zap came in clutch, swiftly dealing with the Dondozo protecting the Titan, and Shroomble and Purebred able to challenge the Titan Tatsugiri itself. As I began to head even further north to challenge the Montanevera gym, I added Chomp, who quickly evolved into Girafarig, to the team. And with the Ghost Gym using double battles, I was more excited than ever to continue my challenge. Here, I battled some gym trainers as an opening act for the gym leader MC Rhyme. When she sent out her Houndstone, I was terrified of the power it posed. But in reality, I should have been scared of her terastallized Toxtricity. Rhyme's fans motivated that freaking frog, boosting its stats, and in a moment of fear, I switched Shroomble out to protect her from another attack, while healing Chomps in hopes that she could take her first victory. But when Toxtricity used its discharge attack, it got lucky. In another moment of unforeseen bad luck, Chomp was killed by a critical hit. If I wanted to defeat Rhyme, I needed my fastest and strongest Pokemon. So Stilts and Purebred, the Pokemon who had spent the longest time on my team other than Crocs, were a sure bet to win me that Ghost Badge. Little did I realize that Toxtricity would unleash yet another critical hit, taking the life of Purebred and leaving Stilts barely alive. I healed Stilts and brought in Shelly, hoping that she could fend off an attack, and even though I healed Stilts, she was unable to survive another hit. In 3 turns, 3 of my Pokemon had been sacrificed to the self-professed MC of RIP. Even though Shelly defeated Toxtricity and earned me the Ghost Badge, this was not a win. Half of my team had been wiped out in one fell swoop. The Pokemon I had grown to care so much about, and that I had trained right from the start, gone, but definitely not forgotten. Someone in chat had the audacity to say that it wasn't the bad luck of getting 2 critical hits in a row, but rather my own lack of skill for having an underlevel team. But in reality, when all my Pokemon were 5 levels above Rhymes, it really did just come down to luck in the end. I needed to regroup, and started training new recruits like Pooh the Teddiursa and Splooshy the Tatsugiri. But I wasn't even safe against wild Pokemon, as Zap became the victim of yet another critical hit while training up these new members. But at this point, I was just desperate to find more Pokemon, so I headed to the Asado Desert to help Arven conquer the Quaking Earth Titan, the Paradox Pokemon Iron Treads. Once the final Titan was defeated, Arven asked me to meet him at the lighthouse in the southern province, once I completed my Nuzlocke. In an effort to ensure that my team wasn't dead in the water, I caught the former Titan, Robofan. The team was starting to get bigger and better than ever, so I continued to move forward, trouncing Team Star's Poison-type boss Atticus, and showing Nemona what a real champion-ranked trainer looks like once again. At the next gym, Robofan and I played a game of Rhythm Heaven, and with some help from Pooh and Crocs, we took yet another gym badge. I traveled to the coast of Paldea to prepare for my final few challenges, when I came across a very powerful Dragonair. After capturing Lancelot and adding him to the team, I finally felt ready for the trials that remained between me and the end of my journey, the first of which was the final gym leader, Grusha. Fortunately, his ice types were no match for the combined power of Crocs and Robofan, and just like that, I had all 8 gym badges. But still in my way were the last few bases of Team Star. So when I reached the hideout of the Fairy Squad, led by Ortega, Shelly finally got a spotlight all her own, using her fumes to dispatch Ortega's team in spite of his relentless debuffs against her. With only one more site in Team Star's possession, I slaughtered the fighting squad and their leader Aerie, putting an end to Team Star once and for all. But once all 5 star leaders had been dethroned, Cassiopeia reached out once more, revealing herself to be the true head honcho of the team and challenging me to a battle. On the way over, I caught Hercules the Mimikyu, adding him to the team in hopes that his high level could cancel out any bad luck that I had in the final hours of the run. I headed back to the academy, where I was met by the principal, who was still upset that I skipped school. He declared that he was in fact Cassiopeia, and that I had to defeat him in battle. After nearly having a heart attack while fighting his ace Pokemon Quaquaval, I waited him out, and finally he made a misplay, leaving an opening for Shelly to declare victory once again. Later that night, the real Cassiopeia made her appearance. It was Penny all along, planning to unseat each leader of the team in hopes that they'd return to school. She just missed her friends. Once I declared victory against her, Team Star was officially dissolved, and the principal gave them all detention, while waiving me of any punishment for helping to take down the biggest bullies in the school. Now that I was in the clear to keep going, I headed off to the Pokemon League, where the Elite Four and the champion awaited my challenge. I easily triumphed over the league's top trainers, with not even the Dragon Master Hassel able to pose a threat to my team, motivated by the memory of their fallen comrades. With the Elite Four out of the way, all that was left in my challenge was the top champion Gita. I opened with Hercules, who had a clear advantage against Terraspathra, but even he wasn't able to survive yet another critical hit. And after losing another Pokemon to my chronic case of bad luck, Gita just had the audacity to mock me. That's it. No more mistakes. It's time to beat this Nuzlocke once and for all. Robofan, Crocs, and Lancelot were able to whittle down her team one by one until only her ace Glimora remained. But once she terrestrialized into a pure rock type, she had made her bed. With just 2 moves, Shroomble landed the finishing blow, and I had finally become the champion of the Paldea region. After hearing about my victory, Nemona rushed over and challenged me to one final battle. With Splooshy back on the team to take Hercules' place, Nemona still didn't stand a chance. And just like that, I had done it. The first Nuzlocke of Pokémon Scarlet and Violet was finally over. Or so I thought. I headed over to the lighthouse where Arven wanted to meet. He explained that his father was a professor who studied strong Pokemon that live in the crater in the middle of Paldea. That was where Miraidon, the Pokemon I had been riding all this time, was from, and it was also where Arven's Nuzlocke came to an end. Now that his team had been revived, he wanted to return to the crater, to find his father and see his Nuzlocke through. But first, he challenged me to a battle to see whether he was up to the task. Despite my easy victory against him, he wanted to push forward, so we recruited Nemona and Penny to travel with us. And with that, we entered the final chapter of this extended challenge. When we got to the crater, the professor introduced himself, explaining that as we traveled deeper, we would need to disable security controls at each research station spread throughout the area. With the battling skills of Nemona and myself, Penny's hacking, and Arven's knowledge of the area, surely there was no way we could lose. As we ventured further and further underground, we began to encounter robotic Pokemon-like creatures surveying the area and guarding each research station. Fortunately, none of them were threats, and each was quickly disabled. As we reached a crystallized cavern, we were encountering more and more of these creatures, so I caught Amazon the Iron Bundle and Metroplex the Iron Jugulus. At the research stations, the professor revealed more information about why we were brought here. These robotic Pokemon, including Miraidon, were in fact brought back in time from the future by a time machine created by the professor, who was soon after caught in the crossfire between 2 Miraidon and was killed. In his place was a lifelike AI, continuing his research. When we made it to the final station, the robotic replica took me to the time machine, which I attempted to shut down to prevent any more future Pokemon from wreaking havoc like the Titan Iron Shreds or the other Miraidon had. As he was programmed to protect the professor's research at all costs, the AI attacked with a full team of Paradox Pokemon. Most of them fell rather quickly, but when it came to the professor's Iron Valiant, a fairy fighting type which threatened most of my team, a hard decision had to be made. Lancelot became the final loss of the run, as I healed up Robofan to defeat the AI's final Pokemon. Once Turo's team was taken out, the AI activated its last resort, starting up a self-destruct sequence and locking down all Pokeballs other than those belonging to him. In a rare case of good luck, Miraidon was able to save the day, swiftly knocking out Turo's own Miraidon thanks to a clutch terrestrialization. With the AI defeated once and for all, the time machine swallowed him up before shutting down for the last time. And with that, I had managed to survive the first Nuzlocke of Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. Was it a perfect run? No, not by a long shot. But even the best Pokemon players in the world can face bad luck and have to make some hard decisions. But in the end, all that matters is that it's done. And with the memory of those that I lost along the way, I decided to keep moving forward, and I can't wait to see what the next generation of Pokemon has in store. And hey, if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. While I was working on this video, we finally reached 500 subscribers, and that just means so much to me. I never thought I would get this far. But hopefully we can just continue down the road to 1,000, and my content can just keep getting better and better. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.